Hello, welcome to the Easy English channel. This channel is here to make learning English both easy and fun. Today, we are going to talk about 4 big mistakes when learning English. Avoiding these mistakes will make your learning process much faster and more effective. Let's get started. Mistake 1. Memorizing words without writing them down. Memorizing words simply by hearing or reading them may not be efficient in the long run. This method is particularly weak when it comes to remembering the correct spelling, meaning, and usage of the word. Writing is a powerful tool for committing words to memory because when you write, your brain processes the structure, spelling, and meaning of the word more deeply. Learning by writing helps you remember words not only by sound, but also visually. This way, you can avoid misspellings by focusing on the spelling of the word. Also, as you write words, you can try to use them in different sentences to better grasp the meaning of the word and create context for its use. This process teaches much more than memorizing the meaning of a word or its correct pronunciation. Understanding how to use the word in different situations helps to memorize it permanently. In this way, you can both write the word correctly and use it accurately and effectively in everyday speech. Memorizing words without writing them down provides only superficial information, especially for a new language learner. If you don't consider the spelling and usage of words, your language skills will not improve and you may have difficulties in communication. So focusing only on the meaning of the word will limit your language skills in the long run. Mistake 2. Translating everything into your mother tongue. When learning English, many language learners translate every word or sentence they learn into their native language. While this approach may initially seem to facilitate comprehension, it can create serious barriers to the development of language skills. Learning English by constantly translating into your native language makes it difficult to get used to the natural structure of the language and prevents you from communicating fluently. The habit of translating into your mother tongue slows down your thinking speed. When reading a sentence in English, first translating it into Turkish or another language, and then trying to decipher its meaning wastes time, especially when speaking. In this case, instead of thinking fluently and naturally in English, you are constantly trying to translate, which limits your language skills. For example, if a person living in Germany constantly translates into English while learning German, they will try to communicate by switching between the two languages every time they speak or write. This creates a learning process based on memorizing words rather than understanding the internal structure of the language. In the same way, approaching English through the mother tongue makes it difficult to adapt to the logic and natural flow of the language. To avoid this mistake, you should focus on thinking and using vocabulary in the language you are learning. Instead of trying to translate English into your native language, try to learn its meaning and usage directly in English. To do this, you can use resources such as English books, films, or speeches, and internalize the words and phrases you learn by observing them in English context. Mistake 3. Focusing too much on grammatical rules. In the language learning process, an excessive focus on grammar rules can sometimes hinder one's progress. Grammar rules are the basic building blocks of language, but they alone are not enough to speak and understand English naturally. If you constantly try to memorize grammar rules, you can get away from the natural flow and expressiveness of the language. For example, a person living in Germany might find themselves constantly checking the rules while learning German, focusing on using the correct grammar in every sentence. This person may actually be able to construct a correct sentence, but may not be able to speak freely and fluently when communicating. This makes it difficult to capture the natural rhythm of the language in practice, as a result of learning the language by memorizing only the rules. An excessive focus on grammar rules can also increase the fear of making mistakes. Many language learners are afraid of making mistakes because they feel that the language must be spoken correctly. This can make it difficult to express themselves in communication. However, making mistakes is a natural part of language learning. Mistakes are a stage of learning, and making them allows you to get it right. While getting the grammar right is important in language learning, practicing speaking and focusing on comprehension is just as important. You can improve your language skills by focusing on understanding and speaking in a meaningful way, rather than forcing correct grammar when trying to express yourself. As you start using grammar correctly, the correct structures of the language will become a habit over time. Mistake 4. Not practicing regularly. When learning a language, not practicing regularly can seriously slow down your progress. The process of learning a language is not only about acquiring theoretical knowledge, but also about using that knowledge on an ongoing basis. If you don't regularly practice the vocabulary, sentence structures, or grammar rules you learn, they will be forgotten over time, and you will take a step backwards in your language skills. Therefore, you need to practice constantly to keep what you have learned alive and to improve it. Many people start learning a language with enthusiasm, but as the days go by, they become demotivated and stop practicing. If you want to keep learning English, it is very important to do small daily practices. For example, you can practice speaking, listening, or writing English for a few minutes every day. This kind of small but regular practice will strengthen your language skills in the long run. Lack of regular practice also hinders language fluency. Spending a little time with the language every day increases the speed at which you can form sentences and speeds up your thinking process. If you do not practice the language over a period of time, your ability to use English correctly may decline. This can make it difficult to express yourself. To avoid this, you should create opportunities to practice. You can join English conversation groups, use language learning apps, or keep a diary to track your progress in the language. Regular practice not only helps you retain the information you have learned, but also helps you to better grasp the natural flow and usage of the language. Here are the 4 most common mistakes when learning English. If you avoid these mistakes, you can reach fluency much faster. If this video was useful to you, don't forget to subscribe and like it for more content. What are your biggest challenges in learning English? Share them with me in the comments, and maybe we will discuss them in the next video. See you in the next video, and until then, don't forget to practice a lot.